Hello everyone and welcome to this presentation of myCADtools 2026 SP0 new features. I am Charlotte Lettner, business partner, and today I'm here with Florian.
Hello everyone, Florian Marchand, product owner of the myCADtools solution.
In this video, we'll show you the latest myCADtools feature with demonstrations for each of them. So this major evolution will transform your daily use from the complete redesign of SmartDrawings to the arrival of artificial intelligence in your task pan through concrete improvements in managing your updates, your 3D exports, and your bills of materials. So these features are designed for one thing, saving time in your daily work. So myCADtools is a gold product certified suite of tools that integrates with SolidWorks to automate all repetitive tasks without added value. So the principle is that we have organized these tools into 5 pillars that cover your entire workflow, from retrieving your existing data to generating your complete manufacturing folders. So concretely, it allows you to standardize thousands of files in a few clicks, automatically generate your drawings, create custom bills of material, and prepare your files for production, for example. So everything that takes you hours today, myCADtools does it in a few minutes. So the result is that your teams focus on value-added design and not on administrative and repetitive tasks. myCADtools therefore represents 50 tools. So to help you find the tools that are essential to your needs, you can use the myCADtools application. It's a central interface from which you can access help, search for, and launch tools. We can see that all essential tools have been grouped together in a must-have tab. For each of these tools, you also have associated training to help you get started step by step with concrete use cases. You'll also find all configuration tools in the Settings tab of the myCADtools application. And now let's move on the new features. So we'll start with the new version of SmartDrawings. So here we've completely redesigned the tools to address the various issues you've reported to us in recent years. So the answer comes down to 3 key points: advanced condition, intuitive interface, and multi-sheet management. So first, advanced condition. So this is really one of the most powerful features of this new version of SmartDrawing because it allows you to go much further in intelligent automation. So concretely, you can define logical rules that drive drawing generation based on your 3D model. So second, the interface has been completely redesigned. So we relied on your feedback, particularly regarding the complexity of the old smart drawing that required you to generate a drawing template with predefined views in SolidWorks. So now you can manage views directly from the smart drawing interface. And last but not least, multi-sheet method. So this is a feature that many people requested. So you can now customize sheet according to your business rules. For example, automatically generates a detail sheet, an assembly sheet, or a bill of materials sheet, depending on the project type. So you can also customize automatically create sheets, particularly for weldment bodies and sheet metal, for example. And now I'll let Florian give you a demonstration.
So indeed, I'll start from an existing assembly and then launch SmartDrawings. So the first thing will be selecting the files I want to process. So we find the selection tool common to several tools. So we can select an open file, a file in the Explorer, or a folder. So I'll take my file open in the background. So among these files, I have assemblies, parts, sub-assemblies with parts called project or standard, so which are intended for manufacturing or purchasing, for example. And then in these smart drawings, I'll be able to create projects that have predefined settings. So we'll come to that later, but then I'll be able to create several projects and select the project I want to use for the files I've selected and generate my drawings. So one of the most important features of this new version will be its intuitive interface. So for example, if I create a template, I'll be able to define the format I want to process for that template. For example, here parts, choose the drawing sheet, and then I'll have an interface in which I can freely position views in space. So on the drawing sheet, so I'll be like in my SolidWorks universe. And above all, each view is independent. That means on this view, I can put a different display style from this one. I can apply views, orientation, dimensioning options, tables, etc. on this view and other options on this view. So for example, this one, I'll add model item dimensioning, and then I'll add an isometric view in a shaded display style at this location. So I'll manage the scale, I'll manage all the information for my view. The second main feature is that I'll be able to create sheets. So I'll be able to create automatic generation sheets, particularly, for example, for my world month elements, I'll pre-configure, so I'll be able to use a different drawing sheet between sheets. And then I'll also define a trade sheet. So if I have weldments for all bodies, whether it's sheet metal or weldments, I'll create X sheets for X bodies while respecting the settings I define here. Knowing that on the trade option we have some intelligence, particularly for example on front views where we'll define for weldments that it's always the horizontal view that's displayed. For sheet metal, it's always the widest view that we display to be sure to have something functional on our drawing. And then I'll also have specific sheet metal and weldment dimensions, including the overall length on my weldment bodies. And then the last thing, and one of the most important, is that I'll make my drawing creation intelligent and automatic, because I'll be able to define several templates, but especially define them based on conditions. So if I have assemblies, parts, etc., I come back to what I selected, but I have parts that are intended for manufacturing and parts that are intended for purchasing, for which I want to make different drawings. So I'll be able to create two templates with completely different settings, and I'll be able to put condition on a property, on variables, etc. to define which part will use which template or which part will use which template based on my condition. So in my case, it will be the condition on a family parts property equal to project or family parts equal to standard. So once I have finished my configuration, I'll save my project, and then the idea is that now I just have to select the project and launch automatic generation of my drawings. So there, my generation is complete. So I can view a report of what went well or not well. So there, for example, for my assembly, I put 3 standard views, and then I had defined a sheet to have an ISO view with a balloon and my table. And then here we'll see in the parts, so a so-called standard part with the family part property equal to standard. So I'll have a drawing that's a bit different from my project parts. And we also see on the welded parts that it created a sheet per body with total length dimension for each profile.
Thank you, Florian. We now move on to a new feature that will considerably facilitate your daily work, updating without administrator rights. We know that in companies, IT security constraints are increasingly strict. Until now, each myCADtools update required IT department intervention to install with admin rights. We could lead to significant intervention, delays, and block access to the latest features for users. And now that's over. With this new feature, your user can update myCADtools autonomously without involving IT, immediately resolve critical security issues, ensure that all workstations use the same version, and simplifying maintenance and support. This innovation gives you greater responsiveness, security, and management simplicity while obviously respecting your company's security policy. And now I'll let Florian give you a demonstration.
So indeed, if a new version is released, we'll have an update pop-up that will appear, and we can immediately launch the update from this pop-up. And myCADtools will restart and automatically update to the correct version without needing administrator rights. We'll also find all available versions to be able to switch from one to another easily. The second thing is that we'll be able to force a version from the shared settings to be able to deploy it to all users who use the same settings through the list we also see here, and thus guarantee the uniformity of version use in a multi-user environment. And the last thing is that we'll also be able to set up a beta tester program. So to allow users who are interested to test the version with improvements that were expected on their side.
Thank you, Florian. We move on to SheetMetalManufacturing new feature and the addition of the ability to export in 3D format. We already had the ability to export in 2D formats. From now on, it is possible to generate neutral 3D formats, STEP, 3D XML, IGS, etc. And I let Florian show you this new feature.
So for those who don't know sheet metal manufacturing, we'll be able to retrieve all sheet metal bodies from a project, define a naming and location rule, and at the export rules level, define the export format. So now we can define 3D like step and generate. So it will generate for each body a step with the naming rule and location, as we can see right here.
We have also added new features to the cutting optimization tools. So first, the addition of an isometric view at the end of the report, which allows you to have a visualization of each profile in the file context. Additionally, the addition of the file concatenation tools in location option, allowing you to define a location that will be dynamic. We now move on to a new feature concerning the file selection and the addition of an option to obtain a tree view. As we can see in the video, we'll go from a flat visualization to a tree visualization. So this will allow the user to have a much clearer visualization, but also through the color code, they'll be able to have a visualization of files whose reference is lost or read-only files. Thus, they'll be able to modify before launching the operation, restore the link to reference, or remove read-only. So this tool is present in other tools, particularly tools allowing you to launch mass operations. This next new feature concerns the integration tool. From now on, you can launch bill of materials creation automatically and in bulk on multiple assemblies from the integration tool itself. And now I'll let Florian give you a demonstration.
So the idea first is to select the assemblies we want to process. So it can be a folder, it can be a manual selection, and we'll create an action with a specific condition if we want, and the operation of automatic launching of SmartBom, where we'll choose the project we want and the export format. So there, for example, the example project, which already contains a specific configuration, including a neutral format, export. So we launch the generation, and it will automatically for each assembly create the Excel files and neutral files if there are any. The idea being to quickly create manufacturing folders for all projects.
Our latest innovation is the integration of myCADtools AI. As you can see in the video, you can ask an AI agent a question about a specific issue or other topics. The agent will respond and guide you to the tools or solution that best fits your needs. This allows you to quickly get pointed in the right direction in a smoother and more autonomous way, saving your time. Our new features presentation is now complete. You've seen the main new features of this beginning of the year on myCADtools. Do not hesitate to consult the online help to see the rest of the improvements and fixes. Thank you for watching the presentation, and thank you, Florian, for the demonstration. Now, see you soon for future new features.